if I get irritated, that's all I give myself.
To be irritated, just 10 minutes?
That's it.
And then what?
I just have to let it go. Because oftentimes, I don't know if it's because of my background, you know, and having cancer and having dealt with different things, but it's already happened.
You mean the worst case scenario? So you shrink the day stuff down?
You know, I mean, what can I do about it? It's
Right.
already happened now,
Right.
right? You know, this adorable dog already barked over there. So do we get worked up?
They're messing up my interview, yeah.
Not really, but you know what? They want to be a part of it because they see there's good energy here.
Yeah,
Right?
that's it.
And so, if for me to get worked up about something silly, it's like, why? You know, you
Right.
sort of take it,
Adapt.
then you pull that in, and you sort of change it around. So, I mean, how many days do you have a checklist and then you really don't do anything else?
Yeah, every day.
That happens all the time.
Right.
But what you did in that day was what you were supposed to be doing.
Oh.
So
you take the attitude that I'll accomplish what I need to, and if the timeline's different than I thought, I'll just adapt.
that's right. Because you do.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at
Didn't
it.
you?
Yes.
You know, like today,
Right.
you know, you knew, and, you know, you knew I was coming at 3, and, you know, there's a bunch of stuff you could have done, but maybe you needed to do what you were doing just
Right.
to sort of get your head peaceful about what we were
The interview, yep.
Yeah, you know? So little things like that.
Right.
And I don't get worked up about stuff. So like right now at work, I have a challenge. You know, I have one of my team members, and she's young. You know, she's fiery and she's feisty, and she gets worked up about stuff. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
And then I smile and I say, how is this an issue? I'm not seeing it. Why don't you see that?
Oh.
But I remember that. I remember being like that. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this person did this, this, and this.
Oh.
But now I can look back and say, that woman I had, that manager, she was so mean to me.
Right.
But you know what? Now I know what I don't want.
You know you don't want to treat people
people
that way. Right.
right?
Right.
And I don't want to manage people. And that woman managed people.
Right.
She didn't know how to manage the business. She was so busy managing people and micromanaging everything that nothing ever got done.
Right.
So, you know, it's like if something doesn't get done today, if it's a deadline, absolutely. Then they need to adjust their schedule
Right.
to get done what they're supposed to get done. But for the most part, it's not the end of the world if someone has to leave. You know, everyone has family,
Right.
things, you know, life gets in the way. And it's not a lackadaisical set,
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
approach. It's just realistic,
Right.
right?
And you think that keeps the fighting to a minimum, or any kind of interpersonal disagreements that might go on?
Yes, in a sense, it allows someone to take a look at something in a different way.
Right.
Because when you're the one looking out, you know, from the outside looking in, if you will, you have a different sense of it. And you can share that.
Right.
And you have fact. I always say to them, if anyone has a conflict, I say, well, give her an example of how that made you feel and when.
Right.
And generally it was one thing that happened, and when you think about it now, it's really not a big deal. It was
Right.
a big deal to the person.
Right.
And so communication is the key to your success in business. You
And
have
so-
to stay in tune.
You think you're teaching them to try to understand why the other person might have been that way with them the way you do?
Yep.
Because you
Sure.
said earlier that's how you handle people, like what's going on with them.
They can't leave otherwise. You know, you can't leave
Right.
this establishment and be frustrated.
Right.
Now, if everything is smooth and you're just making a big deal about it, you do have people like that. I don't, fortunately, but you know, they make a big deal about the tiniest things. That's on them.
How do you deal
Yeah.
with people like that? Like in your personal life, since you don't hire them? Like if,
I tend to have my box, you know,
Mhm.
my safe place
Right.
where I just walk away. I look away, I walk away. I don't let that permeate me.
right.
And I think it's very easy because misery loves company. You know where that came from,
Right.
Oh, did you see that? Oh my God. Oh, I know. You know, people want to
Oh,
complain
gossip,
more than
yeah.
than
Uh-huh.
they want to, you know, rejoice.
Right.
So that's just people in general, men and women. But for me, I don't know. I just don't play into that. I don't.
You'd rather rejoice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that more fun?
Yes.
Business should be fun. Business
Right.
should not be about being in love with your business. Do you know what I mean?
No, tell me. So
Well, business, you shouldn't be in love with your business itself.
whatever
you know?
particular thing you're working
Yeah,
on.
you should be in love with the people and what you're doing, what you're
Your team
offering,
or-
and your team.
yeah.
how you're making people feel, and you know, who your legacy, like what do you want to leave behind? Like I believe that I like to plant seeds in a garden I might never even see grow.
Right.
But I know for sure that I made a difference in somebody's life.
That's nice.
And I think that you can go on and on about it and not really, I don't know, not really see what's happening, but when someone leaves for the day,
Right.
they're gonna think about what happened.
Right.
I know I'm walking back to listen to someone who's in conflict.
Right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you left to come here and now you have to go back.
Yep, and so I'll go back and be very peaceful, and I will hear everything that she has to say, and she'll be very flustered. And again, I'll say, you need to learn to develop your own style and know your own self-worth.
Right.
If you know what you're doing is correct and you're okay with how you did it,
Right.
and someone tries to interject and tell you to do it again and do it a different way,
Right.
excuse me, and you can't stand up to the person in a very professional way,
Right.
and and let them know that you feel like you did a really good job.
Right.
You know, what didn't I understand? Maybe help me to understand so that next time I do this, I can do it the way that you're asking me. But you always have to remember that some people, it's never good enough.
Right. So you're
And-
teaching whoever's getting the criticism to take it in
To
some sort of
understand it.
constructive manner
Mm-hmm.
rather than take it personally.
That's right. Because you can't take things personally.
Right.
Not in business.
Because
You'll
they'll always
never
be.
successful.
Yeah.
You're always going to have someone that's not going to like what you have,
Right. Or what you're doing.
what you did, how you did it, when you did it.
Right.
They could do it better. Well, if that's the case, then they should have just done it themselves.
Right. Right.
And there you are, the term micromanaging.
Been in the back of my head the whole time to ask you again about micromanaging. So you don't do that because you feel like your people need to develop.
If I was going to
I love hearing that.
manage the manager, let's say,
Right.
okay, I'll guide the manager, I'll lead my
Right.
team, but someone said to me today, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, what I want to do is not the question. The
Right.
question is, what do you want to do?
Right.
And then they'll keep trying to throw it back on me. I'm like, this
Because they want you to tell them.
conversation's over.
Right. And you want them to lead on their own.
That's right.
So
Because
how do
a
you?
good manager and a good owner of a business, the business runs the same whether they're there or not.
Right.
So I shouldn't have to be in my business 24/7. I
Right.
don't want to be an absent owner either. But here I am building other businesses right now.
Right.
Very happy doing that.
Right.
But loving going to elite at the same time.
Right.
And you can have, it's called counterbalance. There's no such thing as balance. So I have that.
No such thing as balance.
There's no such thing as balance. If you have balance all the time on the tightrope, you know, you're like this all the time.
Right.
That doesn't make sense, really. Like, do you want to be like that? Don't you want a little dip? Don't you want a little something to happen to you where you're like, oh, you know? If you had things the same always, everything's perfect and smooth and not ruffled,
You wouldn't appreciate it.
well, what would be the fun in that? That's just
Right.
not fun. You know, so when I have an employee who is no longer with me and they cause a huge ruckus and all that, honestly, I grow from it. And it doesn't happen very often.
Right.
I mean, it's probably happened a handful of times.
That was
So-
one of my questions. Well, I'll just skip to it. I'm sure it's here somewhere. If you had to fire someone, how do you handle that constructively too? How do you tell them that they're not a good fit for your organization?
So, not fond of firing.
I don't think anybody is.
Generally, well, some people get off on it. I know in corporate, sometimes it's just like, you know,
Right.
there's a, like, just, oh, well, get rid of these people. That you're not really understanding the whole people part of it. Although I do understand they have a job to do and a budget to keep. But in small business, you really take what's happened, you analyze it a little bit, not too much. You have to give a warning. Try to encourage them to maybe change their behavior.
Right.
And if they're just not willing to bend, I incorporate something really positive. And that's my method.
Right.
So, for instance, I told you I was working with this one of my girls and mentoring her,
Right.
who will take over my business.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it. And when I'm ready. Now, another girl, I was doing the same thing with her because she asked for it, because
Right.
she saw the other girl do it.
Oh, and she wanted the same
she
thing for
wanted part
herself.
of it.
Yeah.
And then when it got uncomfortable and awkward, because personal self-development makes us pour down
It's
trouble.
difficult,
It just
yeah.
does, you know? And so for her, she couldn't handle it. She was freaking out.
Or couldn't look at herself, couldn't self-reflect?
Right. And could not understand the concept of what she was doing and where she was right now was right before she broke through
Ah,
and actually grew.
so it happened
But
for her.
people quit all the time, right? As they're about to step over the finish line, we quit because we fear our own success. And I myself had done that for a number of years, you know?
Why do you think we do that?
Um,
It's almost like sabotage.
it kind of is self,
Yeah.
like with weight,
Yeah,
definitely. And then after a while, it started to be about, well, every time, you know, I'm in great shape, like something happens, I get cancer, my son gets cancer, my husband, you know, this, that, it breaks his back. I mean, that's why the title of my book is Cancer, Cancer, Broken Back.
yeah. See, and you laugh when you
right?
say that,
It's
and
so
yeah, most
funny.
people would be crying.
It's so
Yes.
funny, and then you have to throw alcoholic in there too, because I kicked him out when I went through treatment. So there you go. I mean,
Right.
but it's okay. Like all that stuff, you have to laugh at that stuff. So as far as the conflict between people, if I give them something positive and then they buck at it, I say to them, "I see you're having a hard time, you know, with this. I'm really flattered actually that you freaked out on me because it shows me that you have emotion and that you actually want change.
And feel safe.
But maybe this is not how you thought it was going to happen.
Right.
So I want you to know you don't have to follow this program. There's nothing that says it's mandatory that you follow it,
Right.
but maybe this isn't the place for you because this is a direction that this business is going into. And this is the approach this business is taking because we know it's a proven system that works.
Right. Right.
And who can say that Walt Disney didn't know what he was talking about?
Yeah, that's for sure.
So little things like that that you can incorporate where it's not about the person. And sure enough, she went ahead and got herself a job somewhere else, and
Moved on.
she moved on, and that's okay.
So you turned it back on her rather than let her tear you down.
That's right. Because then it's self-reflection. Now, when she goes to the new place, she'll have the same situation.
Yeah.
She'll
Repeat behaviors. Right.
That's right. And you know, all I do is wish people well. Sometimes far away,
Yeah.
but I do wish them well because
Right.
not everyone is for me. Not everyone is supposed to work with us. I learned that a long time ago. What to take my ego out of my business because not everyone is going to work as fast as me or do a million things like I do.
Right. Right.
So for me to assume that someone is going to be up here and do what I do, that's really selfish of me. That's not how you should run a business.
Right.
I can tell you ask any one of them, they're like, she's crazy, she's all over the place.
Yeah.
They laugh when they say it
Right.
because they know when I'm there 100%.
Right. Right.
Because you can't focus on 10 things. There's no such thing as multitasking. So anyone that tells you that in business,
Uh-huh.
they're not a good business person. There is no such thing. Because then you're not focused. You may be focused 10% on 100 different things, right? 10 on 10.
Right.
What is that?
So you have to take your time and handle one subject at a time, or one issue at a
As
time.
my 6-year-old niece Maya says, Auntie, I like to just do one thing at a time. Because I say, you brush your teeth and I'll do your hair for school. No. She will actually not let me
Touch her hair.
do anything else while she's doing something.
Oh, that's funny.
And I
It's
thought,
about focus.
you know,
Yeah.
smart, right?
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, Maya? I just learned that in my coaching program, and you're absolutely right.
It's funny. Children can teach
So,
us a lot.
I know. They're so smart. I get all my business ideas from them, actually, because they see it from different eyes, you know, and they're not comfortable in talking and sharing. But, you know, if you ask them the right way, you get a lot of information from them.
Oh, like, can you tell me
So-
an example? Like, what idea did you get from a kid?
My business name,
Elite? Who
Yeah.
came up with that?
yeah, my kids.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
And what was their
And they were in
reason?
a dictionary, and I'm like, look, you know, all right, think of something that's really like extraordinary, you know, and upscale, but not snobby or pretentious.
Right.
But, you know, just really a sign of excellence, you know,
Oh,
where
how
do you
nice.
want to, yeah.
And
you
so
know,
they're the
set
ones-
apart from the rest,
Right.
you know? And they went into the dictionary and zoop, and they were like, how about this one?
That's
And
funny.
how I got our name.
Oh, that's awesome. I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's a good story. Let's see. We're almost done. How do you, oh, this is a good one. How do you communicate your expectations to your employees? How do you tell them what you want or what behaviors you expect them? Like, it sounds like you coach them and you lead them to it, but like if you have an example, how do you?
You're required to be positive, to be happy,
Yeah.
to enjoy where you are. Because the day that you come to work and say, I don't want to be
I hate
here,
being
I'm
here.
not enjoying myself, is the day that you should tell me that it's time for you to move on.
Uh-huh.
And that's okay. And I've always told my girls, wherever you want to go and however you want to get there, I'll help you. People think I'm crazy. I have, a few girls that, they work at home, they do hair at home and with me. Well,
Yeah.
why do you do that? That's such a conflict of interest. I can't believe you do that. I'm like, because that's where they think they're supposed to be right now. So if they
And they're not
feel
leaving you,
they're
so.
not leaving me,
Right.
and you know what? If I, okay, so I have a client that maybe is at their house, but they brought that client to me 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So now so if you, for you to go there.
I've gone twice because
Okay.
of her schedule.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Or the salon was shut down for a time that I needed. So I looked at it a different way. I didn't see a conflict of interest. I saw that she was trying to deliver great service to me no matter how she had to do it.
Right.
And it doesn't change. I'm not leaving to go to her house. I still go to Elite. I
That's
don't.
right. And so you have to have options. Just like when you come to us,
Right.
if she's not there, you can go to someone else.
Right.
It works in the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that same.
Because you can trust everyone there. You trust the whole organization.
That's right. And people are like, what if she brings so and so to her house? I'm like, if someone wants to go to her house, it would be like you going to another salon.
Right.
I
Right.
don't control that. You choose to come to me.
Right.
To our business. You make that choice.
Right.
And that's a gift. So I said, as soon as you don't appreciate that as a gift, you're going to have a problem.
Right.
Because you will put that in the universe. And people will go other places. Now, does she do that all the time with people, like what happened with you? No. We have an understanding.
Right.
And when you have a professional understanding and respect for one another, of course I'm going to help you do what you think you need to do right now. It's not easy.
That's impressive. Yeah.
So it's
And
really,
what do you think would happen if you made it an issue? Do you think that you'd lose her or that she'd be resentful or?
Sure. You know why? Because I'm not supporting her.
Right.
And, they all realize it. It's not all it's cracked up to be.
Right.
You start out thinking you're going to do something for a reason, and then you realize, oh my gosh, I don't know that I want this incorporated into my home. And
Right.
Sometimes it works great, sometimes it
doesn't.
doesn't.
Right.
But that's not for me to decide what is
Right.
good or not good for someone.
Right.
I will support you in whatever you feel you need to do, as long as you're not damaging my business or my
Right.
reputation by
Right.
it. Then that's a business part of it. Personally, I will help you do whatever we can do. So there's no whispering at the station. Hey, I'm doing this. It's out in the open.
Yeah, that's a great
So-
attitude because I know lots of businesses will make their employees sign like a non-compete.
Yeah.
And it causes a lot of stress and strife
Sure.
for the employee when they leave.
And that just happened to a friend of mine with the nail salon. And, it was a major upheaval, but you can't make someone work with you.
Right,
See,
exactly.
people think that people work for them.
Right.
So if anyone calls me a boss, I get really sort of an icky feeling because I don't like that word.
Right.
Also, I think that you work for yourself always. No matter who you're employed by,
Right.
you should have the mindset that you're working for yourself, and that you should be trusted enough to be making the right decisions,
Right.
making the right calls, being entrepreneurial
Right.
in your ideas and your approaches, being creative and all that. All that comes from you as a person, individual.
Right.
So who am I just because I own the business to tell you how to think or be?
That's a great attitude.
So you have to give people the opportunity to want change.
Right.
And sometimes you get so stuck in the rut, as they say, or you're, I don't know, what do they say? Getting comfortable.
Right.
Well, I'm all about having failure parties,
Right.
and more importantly, that you realize what you have, take that with a failure, and then you build upon your successes
Right.
and what comes, this beautiful flower, who has, just beautiful color and beautiful smell, and, you can envision that in your mind.
Right.
And if you treat everyone as though they have a sign on that says, I just want love and respect, it'll be so much easier.
I
to
love
listen.
that. I love
Right?
that. I'm going to
So-
remember that.
All right, so everyone that I see, I approach that way, because who doesn't want that?
Right,
you know?
exactly.
There's a lot of very unhappy people in business. Here's the thing, you don't have to work there.
Right.
You can work wherever you want.
Right, right.
And you don't have to live here in New England. So
Right.
people that complain about the weather,
Oh, right.
you can move,
Yes, that's true.
right? There's so many things that I think people complain about that they don't realize how much that they love about where they are.
Why do you think they do that? They get stuck in a
Sort of
rotation,
your
or
subconscious tells you that you're supposed to say and do things.
Right.
You know? You become complacent in where you think you're supposed to be, and you stop that dreaming, like we were talking about, and you stop envisioning and imagineering, and it's also affirmations, right? So if you say, I'm wonderful, I'm smart, I'm pretty,
smart enough, I'm good
okay,
enough, and
right?
doggone
And
it,
I love
people like
Stuart
me.
Small.
Yeah.
I love that. Baby cracks. Yeah, I've said that to a few people actually. And but if you have an affirmation where I'm so happy and grateful now that I have sold my business for X amount of dollars.
Right.
Now it's an emotion. Now it's an actual.
You've
it's
given a gift.
thought.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a thought. I'm appreciative of it, and it's happening.
Right.
And that's how that business came to life.
The coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how Elite came to life, where I said, this is terrible. I just built $1 million house. I'm pregnant with my 4th child, and I just got fired from my job, and I carry all the benefits.
Oh no.
Now, what would I have done if I
Right.
just sat back?
And felt sorry for yourself.
I'm so grateful that I was terminated, because
Was
if I was
this-
never terminated, I would be sitting here right now. with you.
Right. So it was a silver lining. The failure taught you
It
something.
always is. It always is.
So how long before you opened the salon, between the time you lost your job and?
I was let go the 3rd week of March, and I met Barb on April 18th on her birthday. And someone tipped me off that she was selling her business. And then a week later, so we agreed, like, hey, this is really going to work, A week later, I went into the hospital with, I was pregnant and had terrible kidney stones, and I was there for a month.
Oh no.
Where I bought the business, I bought the
From the
car,
hospital?
yeah.
Holy
and I
moly.
refinanced my house in Carlisle.
Oh my
I
goodness.
was in there for a month, and then I had Luke and got out, and then I took about a month off, and then I started full
The
force.
salon. So it never closed its doors. Like she managed it, and then you took it over.
Yeah, and she's still there with me 14 years later, Barb.
Does she work there?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't
She's
think I know she
stylist.
is. That's
she's on
awesome.
Fridays. Yeah.
How great is
But when
that?
I went to the bank, he said, the loan officer said, I don't know how you think you're going to do this. And
A negative message, and you just ignored
that's
it.
right. And I said, I'm telling you that I know I can do this.
Right.
And that's when he offered me the lunch in 5 years. So today I'm like, you owe me dinner. Actually, probably
Several,
a weekend
yeah.
somewhere, but we laughed, and here
that's
now I'm
nice.
doing business with him again
Right.
on another venture.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because, we have a relationship. Like
Right.
you said, it's all about relationships.
Yep.
Yeah, we're blessed for the people we meet, even if they do things to us that are not kind. I still am okay with
It's
that.
a learning experience.
Hmm. Yeah, and sometimes you go like this and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe all that just happened. But when you get to the point where you need a telescope to look back at your life, like I can't even remember when that happened.
Right.
That's a great feeling. That's a great feeling.
Oh, nice, because you put it behind you. Let it go.
Because what are you gonna do? Carry it with you, and then
Well, make something good out of it. It sounds like.
absolutely.
That's what you've done.
Yeah, that's what you have to do.
Ah.
Yeah.
So, who was your role model? Who did you look to when you were looking to be a leader? Did someone inspire you besides Walt Disney? And be personal, like in your life that you.
Let's see. So, my boss in California, his name was Ernie, when I was a manager for Chess King, which was men's clothing back in the 80s.
Yeah.
He taught me the value of being a good leader and being a good manager, and what the difference was in that. And I was 20 years old. I mean, I was, wild and having fun, but I had a skill, and he took that skill and he fine-tuned me to calm down about things.
Right. Like you're doing now with your employee.
Exactly.
Yes.
And also that the idea in business is to make less and work, is to, make more and work less.
Right.
Okay. And in our society, it's work more, make more, or make less.
Right. It's never.
There's
no in between.
Yeah. And so, and the people who are making more are all stressed out.
Right.
And so, if I died with $1 million in,
In the
cash
bank, yeah.
around me on my bed, but I was a miserable person, I'd just be a miserable rich person.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it's not really a gift to make money. The gift is enjoying what you're doing. I know.
You've left my shop. I don't even charge you. I know. Talking. The girls are like, get off the desk. Now I can train anyone on that desk.
Right.
Okay. But to do it now, I'm like, I'm beyond that now. See?
Right.
Not that I'm above it.
No.
But I'll clean a toilet because I asked someone else to. I'll sweep the floor because I asked someone else to. So you'll never find in my business, no matter what business I'm doing, would I ever ask someone to do something that I wouldn't do? Because I think good leaders lead by example.
Right.
And so, and they know that. So that's why no one minds doing the trash or cleaning the bathrooms or I don't have a cleaning lady there.
Right.
Why do I? Why do I need that? I don't need that.
Because everybody handles it.
Yeah.
It's part of the organization.
They don't mind doing it. We're a team. And to see those girls pull through and run that business without me for a year, almost 2 years, between my cancer
When
and
you
my
were sick.
son's.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Now, anyone that wouldn't appreciate that, they're in the wrong place. Okay, so my mentor, like I said, was Ernie. My mom worked super hard, but she was a different kind of person, and so I've learned a lot from that as well.
Right.
What I want to be, what I don't want to be. But Marilyn Monroe really is my
Marilyn Monroe, how come?
Yeah. Because there's something that was so special about her. Any picture that you look at, you can tell that what she's doing, there's so much more behind it.
Right.
And I think that's a really good skill to have in business, is to be focused on what you're doing in the moment,
Right.
regardless of what else is going on. And if
That's
someone's
good advice
talking
too,
about
to
you-
avoid the chatter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if somebody is talking about you, then you're doing something right.
So it doesn't, if it's negative, you just don't worry about it.
Negative talk about anyone is an insecurity on the person that's coming out of their mouth.
Oh,
Because if you feel like you have to tear someone down
to feel good.
to feel good, then that's something you have to work on yourself.
Right.
So I had to learn that. The hard way, because I was talked about. The hardest thing for me was to just keep my mouth closed. And the best,
So you mean to not
revenge
engage
success.
or make it twice
Yeah.
as negative?
I never say anything back. If I
So
hear
that's a good
something.
technique too. So
Yeah.
you avoid conflict. What if it gets to be so personal, like in your business?
It was. I've had everything said about me and my business,
And how do you handle that?
I've been closing my doors now for 14 years.
Right.
You know how I handle that? I look at where the business is that I left and
Right.
what's happened there,
Right.
and that's all I need.
Because what happened there?
It's the same as it was.
Oh, nothing's changed, but you feel like you've grown.
It's the perfect definition of insanity, right?
That's a
It's
good
just
one.
Doing that
Same thing over and over again.
over and over, and getting the same result,
Right.
but expecting something different. And so, if you have someone who constantly is just pounding other people, you're gonna get what you give,
Right.
and what I give, I get back,
Right.
and I'm thrilled about that. But I would much rather help someone and build them and empower them than try to tear them down.
And do you think that building leaders or building employees, especially emotionally, I hate to make such a grand statement, but makes the world a better place?
Absolutely,
Yeah, I think so too.
without a doubt.
That's awesome.
It's that sign. Even if someone's so angry and so, terribly mean to you, if you just bless that person and try to not get involved in where they are.
Or let them drag you in.
Someone says, gosh, I wish I just could understand that. And I say, why do you want to understand someone like that?
Oh, so you don't think you need to always understand them as long as you accept it?
Yeah. You might not agree with it.
Right.
And you might not promote it, but they've already said it. It's
Right.
already out of their mouth. You can't stuff words back.
And does that
Actions speak louder than words. So
stop you from being able to be supportive of them if they're negative to you? Or does it depend on how close?
generally, I wouldn't support someone who is completely negative.
Right.
Because what are they, what do they want?
Right.
Actually. So, you know, conflict resolution is always, you know, identifying what the problem is.
Right.
And 9 out of 10 times, the person who's starting the conflict doesn't even know what the conflict is. So
Oh,
how do you resolve something that you don't even understand what the problem is? You're just complaining.
so you think
Yeah.
it's just a behavior pattern, or that they don't
Times.
can't handle their own frustration, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, is there ever a way to teach? Are there some people that you can teach to handle their frustrations, or at least with regards to the job, I should
Different
say?
scenarios, of
Right.
course. You know, I mean, a lot of times I say, well, let me give you this hypothetical situation.
Right.
You know, if this happened, how do you think that I should handle this? And now it's not about them; it's about me. It's
Right.
about me asking them, how do you think I should handle this? I have this going on with this friend. Like, what do you know? What could you give me some advice? Because the person always giving the advice all the time is just the person talking.
Right. That's
And
true.
it becomes lip service.
Right.
And if someone's not ready to receive the information, then you're on deaf ears. It's not worth you saying anything to them. You just listen.
So you turn it around and make them engage with you or some
Yeah,
different kind of problem. And
yeah.
do you think that empowers them a little? And
It should.
yes,
Yeah, that's the whole point to it.
that's a great
And
approach.
you know what? It's a lot of things, like I say, is you know, I care, but not that much. You know? I mean, when you think about it, it's like I really do care about what's happening, you know, with you right now, and you know, but not that much. And I say it in my head,
Right.
Because usually it's not a big deal.
Right.
You know? It's just a
So
big
do you
deal to them in the moment, but at the end of the day, doesn't matter really. No.
So do you think that there are times when we can act a certain way in order to elicit a certain behavior from people, and that we don't necessarily need to feel it?
Yes, sometimes acting. You mean? Sometimes we
Right.
have to
So
act.
if you say you care, so you put on your caring persona, but there's a limit. So you just continue acting in the same manner, even though you don't care the extra miles.
Sometimes I don't.
And that still works though, because your behavior.
It works because I'm not allowing something to permeate how and change my mood.
Right.
Because people who are negative and want to bring drama to your business, to your life in
Right.
general, they don't want you to agree with them necessarily.
Or make it better.
They want to argue more with you.
Right.
They want to, you know, if you throw something positive, they'll say, well, what about that? What
Right.
about this? They'll always have a counter offer of negativity. And so, you know, you have to be patient. You have to be patient in business. And then if you get to the point where you can't be patient anymore, then you have to take action.
Right.
I mean, you know, a lot of my philosophies in business and people really, they brought me where I am now. They weren't always like this,
Right.
you know, but it's like the iPhone, you know. I mean, they come out with the 4, they're already working on the 5.
Right.
The 5 doesn't have the same problems as the 4.
Right.
And now the 4 is obsolete. Now they have the 5, 6, 7 plus. Now, right? So they're failing forward all the time. So
Right.
if you don't fail forward and you don't ever make mistakes.
I like that expression, fail forward.
We have failure parties at work.
Yeah, that's a
We
great
have failure
idea.
parties all the time. You know, what did we do that we could maybe do better? We try to